Yo, what's good, YouTube? Sam Crow here, aka Scoop, back with the World Showdown Series, and we've got Season 6 and week number 4 here, facing off against the Victorian Vikavolts, who have a pretty scary squad, also coached by Awkward Arca. And yeah, as you can see on screen, they have Greninja. Now, that's a round 1 Greninja, so you're probably thinking it's not Torrent, but it's actually not Torrent. You're right, it's Protein. It's an S tier pick this season, such as my Aegislash. So this guy's got Greninja, Tornadus Therian, Como-O, Roserade, Uxie, which is an offensive and status Z-move option Pokemon, Aromatisse, Hitmonchan, Rhyperior, Lantern, which is also an offensive status and status Z-move option, Rapidash, which is an offensive Z option. No status allowed for Rapidash, and then Mega Scizor. So a pretty scary squad, all in all. Looks to be a pain to deal with. I think it synergizes pretty well. It has some Trick Room options, such as Uxie and Aromatisse, with mons like the mons said respectively, and then Hitmonchan and Rhyperior could actually thrive under Trick Room, potentially. And some other things as well, like Lantern, Mega Scizor, and maybe like a really slow Como-O or something. So yeah, it definitely has the options to go for Trick Room. He does have some very good speed control though, and has things like Taunt. He has Toxic Spikes, Stealth Rock options, Wish Pass. He's got a fat defensive core, like I was mentioning earlier, with Uxie, Aromatisse, Rhyperior, Lantern. All those mons together, they work fabulously, synergistically. So that's something to think about. And yeah, I took an approach to the game where, like, I want to get rid of the Greninja so that things like Terrakion and Mega Gardevoir can come through in the late game. So what I've got here is a Cobra Berry Aegislash. Well, we'll hop into it. No, we don't hop into it actually. So we've got a Cobra Berry Aegislash here with King Shield and Swords Dance. I have both these moves. King Shield, obviously there to prevent, being hit on certain turns to get back in my defensive stance and whatnot. And then I have the Swords Dance to boost my offense. Obviously, it allows me to potentially break through a Scizor. If Scizor is defensive, there's just no chance. But unless he just lets me set up and he has no way to hurt me back, which could be a thing. But yeah, otherwise, like, Aegislash is pretty much walled by Scizor. I could have ran some lures on there to catch it, but I felt like I had enough ways to deal with Scizor on my squad, with things like Rotom Heat and Hydreigon being able to do quite a bit with it, it being a Life Orb set and such. And then I've had the Hidden Power Fire on the Mega Gardevoir, and I'm quite bulky, so I shouldn't die from one bullet punch unless he's boosted, or just like Adamant Max Attack or something. Anyways, this thing has the Cobra Berry. Aegislash has the Cobra Berry, so that we can take a hit from Grin and hit it back with the Sacred Sword. And after 2 rounds of rocks, it should knock him out, which is really nice, and can get rid of Greninja and open up holes for things like an offensive Hydreigon and a offensive Gardevoir to really put in the work, because they can't be revenge killed so easily. And we are speed creeping the Roserade with these 2 mons. Now, Roserade could potentially be a Choice Scarf variant, but with the Aegislash running around, I don't really expect it. I don't think he has the coverage. Like, locking himself into a move would put him, like, really behind. Because I could take advantage of that with my other mons. And this thing's pretty bulky. It gives me, Aegislash gives me ways to kind of check things like Como-O, Roserade, Uxie, Aromatisse, Hitmonchan even. And a non-setup Scizor shouldn't be too problematic, and a Scizor without knockoff isn't problematic at all. So yeah, that's pretty nice for Aegislash. Next up, we've got a Life Orb Hydreigon, which is just 3 attacks and Roost. Enough speed to outpace Roserade, nearly max HP, and a little bit of special attack investment. With Life Orb, I should be able to Oko or 2-hit KO everything. Like, I don't really see myself Oko in anything specific. Maybe the Como-O with Dragon Pulse. But like after Stealth Rocks, Life Orb Hydreigon can really put in the work, and I've got Roost there to try to fight my Life Orb recoil a little bit. That's basically the only reason it's there, and I guess it could be there for something like a Roserade that's locked into something like Giga Drain or Energy Ball or Leaf Storm or something like that. I could just roost up on it and potentially wear it out of Leaf Storms or Force a Switch or something like that. And we've got Mega Gardevoir here, which is a Hyper Voice, Psychic, Hidden Power, Fire, and Protect set. I was going to run Wish on here, but I needed all three moves, and I like Protect on here to scout versus Greninja. If it shows Gunk Shot, I'm obviously going to want to switch out. If Roserade stays in on me, I'm going to assume that it's Scarf, and I would like to scout what move it's going to go for, and that's really nice for that. Also, if he runs Trick Room, this allows me to burn a turn of Trick Room, and it also allows me to scout the Mega Scizor and see if he wants to go for a U-turn, or the Bullet Punch, or potentially even Swords Dance, which I would have to, immediately hard switch out. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for Mega Gardevoir. Hyper Voice is very, very spammable. Once Scizor goes down, it's actually like it just goes ham versus a squad, especially the combination of Hyper Voice and Psychic, which will be able to cover the Roserade and the Rapidash pretty well. So that's pretty nice. Next up, we've got a Choice Scarf Terrakion, Close Combat, Stone Edge, Egg Scissor, and Stealth Rock. We've got enough attack investment with an Adamant Nature that would basically put us at the same attack level if we were Jolly Max Attack. And then we have enough speed to outpace a Choice Scarf Roserade. And then we've got actually 100 EVs in Special Defense, 24 EVs in Defense, and 40 EVs in HP, which allows us to live a Bullet Punch after Stealth Rock from a non-adamant Max Attack Scizor. Allows us to take a Hurricane from the Tornadus Therian if he was to, like, say he was also a Choice Scarf Tornadus Therian, which is probably unlikely, or that he had some kind of like Tailwind up or something, or I just missed my first edge. I will survive a Hurricane after Stealth Rocks and be able to click Edge the following turn or something like that, so that's really nice. Egg Scissor gives me a way to hit the Uxie for super effective damage, which is really nice because I think, like, being a fighting type, it would be his primary switch-in, and Stone Edge actually can't 2-hit KO unless I get, like, back-to-back crits or something like that, and this is also my designated Stealth Rockers because I couldn't fit it on anything else. And then we've got a Rotom Heat, which is 4 attacks. Now, listen to this set. We've got Discharge, which hits the Greninja, hits the Tornadus, it hits the Uxie and Aromatisse for neutral damage. It hits the Hitmonchan for neutral damage, and hits the Rapidash and the Mega Scizor for neutral damage. Obviously, it's resisted by the Como-O, the Roserade, and Rhyperior, and potentially Lantern. So I've also got Overheat on there, which will bop the Roserade. But Como-O, Rhyperior, and Lantern still pose a problem. So I threw Hidden Power Grass on there, which deals with the Rhyperior and the Lantern switch-ins. But there's just nothing that I could find that was super solid for Como-O. So what I decided to do was grab this hidden tech, a base 40 attack that doesn't even check accuracy. Disarming Voice, which is 4 times effective versus Como-O. So maybe it can prevent any kind of super shenanigans from that monster. But yeah, that's a pretty cool tag. Anyways, we've got a Selgor here, our last Pokemon, with the Focus Sash and the Unburden ability. Having Focus Sash means we can take any one hit, obviously. This is our lead of choice. We can take any one hit and basically get up spikes. If he leads Greninja, that's the idea. If he leads with anything outside of like something that's going to be able to take and like something that might want to attack me right off the bat. Say he was to lead with, say he led with Lantern or Uxie, and I can throw up a spike, but he attacks me, and I can't, like, he's going to 2-hit KO me, so I don't necessarily want to be 2-hit KO'd. I want to have as much max HP as possible, so that my final gambit does, as much as possible, unless he leads with Greninja, because then, no matter what he goes for, he will activate my Unburden, and if he's Scarf, then I'll speed him on the following turn. If he leads with Tornadus, same thing. Any potential leads, actually, after my unburdened boost, I would be faster than anything on his squad, and can bop him with the Bug Buzz Sludge Bomb, which is my move of choice to hit what Bug Buzz doesn't hit. And then we've got the final Gambit, like I mentioned earlier, and this is a spike setter. So we've got some Stealth Rocks, we've got spikes, and we don't have Toxic Spikes, unfortunately, but he does have a poison type anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. So yeah, Life Orb, Hydreigon, Mega Gardevoir, and potentially a Choice Scarf Terrakion could put in some work here. That was the idea in the prep. But yeah, we can go ahead and hop into the replay and see what's going to actually happen. Alright, so here we are with the replay, and my opponent chooses to bring the Roserade, Como-O, Greninja, Mega Scizor, Rapier, and the Lantern. So he's got two potential Stealth Rockers in Rapier and Como-O, and potential Spikes and Toxic Spikes in Greninja, and Toxic Spikes in Roserade. It's definitely a problematic squad here. Could definitely try to hazard stack me. I actually didn't bring Defog on this squad, so I don't necessarily want that to happen. And I thought like leading with my Rotom could, like, if he tries to set up rocks with Rapier or Como-O, I could use a 4-time super effective move versus them, and at least chip them down quite a bit as they try to set up their Stealth Rocks. And if he leads with the Roserade, then I could just click Overheat, or potentially Hidden Power Grass, predicting him to switch out. And if he led with the Greninja, then that would also be problematic, but he would probably go for the water type attack, and I could just switch into Hydreigon and then, double out from there into something like H-Slash to, take the Ice Beam or something like that. Anyways, I'm going to lead off with my Rotom Heat. Like I mentioned, I think it's probably my best lead. He has ways to deal with my only Stealth Rocker in this matchup, which would be Terrakion, and he's probably EV'd to take a hit with all of his mons from Terrakion. Alright, so I'll go into Hydreigon here, and he's just going to Volt Switch out. So that was a fine play by him, and he's going to go out into his Roserade here. And I know he could have Scarf, Dazzling Gleam, and I don't necessarily want to take one of those, so I'm going to switch out here, as he actually switches first, revealing that he is definitely Scarf. He is definitely Scarf, because he switched out before me. And I got my Aegislash in here. I don't necessarily want to take a Scald or anything like that, so it's in my best interest to just switch back out to my Hydreigon, and I can eat up the Volt Switch pretty comfortably. But he goes back into his Roserade here. I'm going to go back into my Rotom Heat. I know he's got Dazzling Gleam. I'm not an idiot. I scout for movesets. Anyways, I'm going to double out into my Selgor, because this gives me a chance to get Spikes up myself. But he actually pulls a switch into his Lantern. I kind of expected his Rapier to come out, and I wanted to go ahead and potentially click Final Gambit against it, or just get up a layer of Spike as he got his Rock up, and then click Final Gambit on the following turn. Well, I'm going to Final Gambit here versus the Lantern, because this thing was an issue to me. It was a pretty big problem, so it's glad to have that thing out of the way now. For the most part, it's severely weakened, and his Como reveals to have Toxic here, so I'm pretty sure this is going to be kind of a bulkier set, not necessarily like a Dragonette set or anything like that. And he's going to hard switch out into his Rapier here, as we go for the Disarming Voice, and it does 10%. But now we can finally reveal Hidden Power Grass, as he reveals the Rindo Berry, and it does a total of 20% here. And he gets his Rocks up. And yeah, I'm just going to hit him up with a second Hidden Power Grass here. I thought maybe he just thought I was going to overpredict or something here, and I'm actually able to live the Rock Blast, but I died of Poison, which is a little bit unfortunate. I'm going to go straight into my Mega Gardevoir here, though, and just click Hyper Voice. No reason not to. It hits like a truck, and Hyper Voice into Hidden Power Fire would have knocked out the Scizor, no matter it said either. So here he goes into his Greninja, and he's going to reveal U-Turn as I click Protect. So I'm going to think he's actually Scarf here, and I'm going to click the Hyper Voice, and he misses a Gunk Shot as I go for the Hidden Power Fire. I figured he would U-turn out into Mega Scizor, so that was the Hidden Power Fire play. And he goes for U-turn here, doesn't want to miss again, and goes out to his Como-O and is soundproof. But I have the Psychic here, which I could go for, but I'm actually going to go for the double Hyper Voice, predicting him to switch into Greninja there on the Psychic. But yeah, he does switch, just unfortunately goes to the wrong Pokemon. So I'm going to hard switch out here into my Aegislash and see what he wants to go for here. As he goes for a Bullet Punch, and it bounces off as expected. I'm going to go for the Swords Dance here and try to break this Scizor down. But he actually just goes out into his Como-O. I don't necessarily want to take too much damage here. and I'm going to click Protect here, not really Protect, but King Shield, excuse me, and see what kind of damage he wants to do. As he continues to go for the Earthquake, and I switch into Lantern, I switch into Hydreigon on the Earthquake, which is pretty nice, and I can go for Dragon Pulse as he just sacks off his Lantern, and finally my set is revealed that I'm Life Orb, and he can just go into his Greninja now and U-turn out basically and pick up the knockout. That's the thing about Protein Grin, it packs, you know, stab on all of its moves, so it can just basically break through everything. But here he's going to go for knockoff, and when I'm in Blade form, he's actually going to be just in range of knocking me out with another knockoff, so that's a little bit unfortunate there. But he's in range to die to a Dark Pulse now, which is really nice. And I'm going to Roost up, predicting him to switch out here. Dark Pulse was definitely the play versus Scizor, and he knew that, so he was going to potentially switch out to Greninja or Como. And expecting that, I've roosted up, but he actually goes to Roserade, which puts me at a disadvantage, and he goes for the Dazzling Gleam on this turn. I didn't expect it, but I couldn't switch out. I just couldn't on that turn. And here I'm going to go into Mega Gardevoir. I know that I can take a Dazzling Gleam from a Scarf Roserade, so I think he's going to switch out, but he doesn't. He actually stays in, and Hyper Voice isn't able to knock him out there, obviously. Psychic would have, so I'm not sure why he stayed in to click like that move, because like if I knocked it out, he would have to bring in probably Scizor, and from full, basically what I'm saying here is he would bring in Scizor versus my low HP Mega Gardevoir, Scizor or the Greninja, one of the two, which would give my Terrakion free close combats. But I guess after one close combat, then Mega Scizor could always revenge kill me. So I guess if he didn't go immediately to Mega Scizor and let me knock that thing out, then I guess he could have still won with Mega Scizor no matter what. So maybe that was his thought process. But regardless, I don't think staying in with Roserade was the play. It was a lot more valuable than anything else on your squad. I think second Como could have been the play, potentially even Greninja. But yeah, Scarf Roserade was too good there. Like a Scarf Grass move won, so that was like a guaranteed win. So I'm not sure why I would risk that, especially knowing I'd had to lock myself into close combat to do damage to these other three Pokemon. And Roserade could have been at full health, you know. So that's going to be that. I'm going to try to see what goes down here. I knock him out with the close combat, and he's going to be able to revenge kill us with the Bullet Punch here, and that's going to be a 3-0 victory for my opponent. He played really well. He's got a really solid squad, and it was tough to overcome. So I really didn't expect to win this match. I thought Greninja was very, very overwhelming to my squad in particular. Not that it's broken or anything. I do think it's probably the best Pokemon in the format if it's allowed. But versus my squad, it was really, really, really solid. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's going to be week 4 of our match, and we are sitting at what, 0-4 now. That's pretty bad. 0-4, kind of reminiscent of our CPC Season 6 run, but maybe we can bounce back from this a little bit sooner. So yeah, looking forward to that. Let me know what you thought about the prep and plays on both sides of the field. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.